welcome to Season 3 of Mary for the Ages podcast. I'm your host, Mary, and I am so very glad that you are here with me. I am just overwhelmed by the wonderful people that we have on this season of the podcast. This podcast season is all about people who have walked through the supernatural and have not only walked in the supernatural, but have done it well at a great personal price and with great personal process, and have done so in, as far as I know, a healthy way. We're going to be touching on all sorts of supernatural and interesting types of topics, and I can't wait to get started. So buckle up and enjoy. Well, I'm here with my friend, Shon Simon. I just got out of a French class, so I'm trying hard not to Frenchicize it and be like, Shon Simon.
I like that. You can call
You
me
like
that.
that? Okay. Well, Shon is an amazing woman. She brings such a light and a joy. There's just such a beauty to her presence and a light that she carries inside of her. And I'm just so grateful that she was able to jump on today. We connected over being fellow seers. And this is just one of those relationships that Instagram made happen. And to that note, do you remember how we met exactly?
I don't remember. I remember I found your content. I don't know how I found it, but I stumbled upon it and I started liking it. And whenever I like something, I want to encourage the person.
Oh.
So I think I sent you like some messages or something, and I'm just encouraging you and saying how much I love your content.
Well, and then I followed you back, and she's been doing some really cool stories and some really cool stories about the seer realm and like seeing light and seeing the angelic. And I love how I think we're very aligned in this. Like, we both love to study
Yeah.
and experience. And so, like,
Yes.
we experience and then we study and then we study and then we experience. And I just love, like, just the depth and the richness. I was looking at something you posted today. And it was about, oh, this is embarrassing, but my mind just went blank. But what were you writing about today?
I think I was writing about, you become what you behold.
Oh,
Is that what I wrote that today?
possibly.
Oh, no. You know what? I wrote about the storm that's happening in Jamaica.
Yes.
I
Okay.
wrote about the storm that's is Hurricane Melissa. And
Yeah.
Melissa means honeybee. And so I was praying that Melissa must honor her name.
Yeah.
And much like the honeybee, when it creates turbulence, it brings out the sweetness.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I saw that, but now I'm looking and I'm seeing that you were talking about even more stuff. Y'all got to go follow her. Her handle is I am Shon Simon. Now I can't not
You can
Frenchicize it.
Frenchify anything you want, okay?
Okay. Deal. Sorry, I just got done being like, we studied the S's today, and so there's no undoing it. I'm really sorry.
I love it all. I love it all. Please do it. I'm okay with it. I'll be so small.
Anyway, Shon was writing something really beautiful, and we were talking a few minutes ago about like all the different ways of seeing, and one of the things that I feel like you do so well is just noticing the world around you.
Yeah.
And then leaning on that and being like, I'm noticing this, which you've done so beautifully with unpacking the meaning of the name Melissa and what that name is meant to hold. And then like researching and leaning on the Lord for revelation. But then now I'm seeing another story that you posted where you're talking about you become what you behold.
Yeah.
And I would just love to hear you say more.
No, I think that as someone, I don't want to label myself as a seer, but as someone who has been able to see in the spirit for a majority of my life, my life didn't make any sense because I was trying to find someone that could help me make sense of it all. Why was I having these type of dreams? Why was I having these type of visions? And growing up, no one really couldn't explain it. It really wasn't until about 6, 7 years ago to where it all
Mm.
literally started to make sense. I did not have language, and where
Wow.
I was supposed to execute wisdom, I executed anger and frustration. You know what I'm saying? Because I would discern
I do.
something about someone or a situation, and because I couldn't articulate it and I didn't understand God's posture in it, I'm like, oh, that person's this, it's like,
You are choosing your sin, and I am call down the fire of God on you.
but I didn't have proof, but I knew it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I know this is true. Like,
Judge, jury, and executioner. I'm ready.
right, exactly. And slowly but surely it will come to fruition. But after I have caused all this like ruckus and stuff. And so now I'm learning, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm learning God's heart posture, that when he shows you something, it's not always to go against it, it's to pray for it, or to know how to navigate it,
Mhm.
or to sense,
Yeah.
does this thing need to be removed, or is this thing going to refine me and purify me and bring out the gold in me? So it's like all these things of just learning how to navigate the spirit,
Yeah.
because I think so many times we're like, oh, I cast out. Sometimes we get so confused because we're so
Mm.
entangled with the devil
Mm.
that we cannot determine if we are actually in real spiritual warfare against the devil, or if we're standing in the light of God. Because when the light of God comes upon your soul, it reveals the darkness that's in you. And sometimes the devil is nowhere near. Sometimes the devil is nowhere near. It is you and the darkness that is in you. Blaming everything on spiritual warfare causes us not to take responsibility.
Mm.
And so we can just blame it on the devil, but we don't have to surrender.
Right. Well, and it's that verse in Isaiah where, I forget, but it's around Isaiah 60, but it talks about like the enemy is really a chisel in the hand of God.
Yeah.
And so sometimes in a deliverance heavy culture, which don't get me wrong, I think there's a time and a place.
Amen.
And I've benefited from deliverance. I've seen
Yeah.
others benefit. But in a deliverance heavy culture, we're actually often not discerning how God is moving through a narrative or a story.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
One of the stories in the Bible, which I believe has been misunderstood, is the story of Job.
Yes.
Because a lot of us have looked at Job as if I mean, he was this like stand-up guy, amazing, right? And
Mm.
then because he was amazing, God all of a sudden came and said, have you considered my servant Job? Because he's amazing. You know what I'm saying? This is like this whole concept, when
Mm.
in the beginning of Job, it mentions that Job was in the hedge of protection of God. And in the midst of worship, Job started worrying about his sons. That was the wrong time to worship. You're standing in the face of God. And when you're supposed to worship the living one that has this hedge of protection around you, and then all of a sudden, your worry is about your sons, then your God. And so this is what I'm saying. You become what you behold. So because of that,
Oh,
in the presence of the living God of worship, this was time of worship, he started worrying about his sons. The moment said, have you considered my servant Job? Because he opened that door. And when Satan came through, the first thing that he got was his sons. Because you become what you behold.
mm,
And another thing is that Job dealt with Satan in chapter 1. The other 46 or 45 chapters was just Job and God. It,
I know.
it's deep. You know what I'm saying? And
Whoa.
so
God and the peanut gallery, the Charlie Brown friends.
the friends, yeah, exactly. But Satan was only in chapter 1.
Yep. Whew, that's a whole word.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not revealing, people will, like, go to deliverance a million times and still wonder why they're struggling.
Yeah. It's like, what are
Right.
you putting before worship?
Mm,
The time that you're supposed to worship, what is going before that? Because God is God, you know what I'm saying? And so if you're not putting Jesus and worship as your focal front, like as
mm,
your primary, the thing that you are focusing on, that becomes what you behold.
yeah. Well, that just ministered to me.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, and sometimes we wanna run from the light
Yeah,
because we're afraid actually that we might lose something that's precious to us, when in reality, God comes to set our lives in proper order and put us in right order. And I love how you dug out, like, that worry was what caused Job to maybe be part of why he went through what he went through.
right.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. I think too, like, in seasons of suffering, I think we need seers in general too, because I was reading Job a lot this summer myself, which, it's not a common thing for me to be like, I'm just gonna go read Job because this seems like a light, nice, happy read for me right now. And I was actually so drawn to the courts of heaven and
Yeah,
in Hebrew, it's the Satan, like the accuser
yeah,
comes and begins to accuse. And I've been around so many people this year that have been through really big situations.
yeah,
And the church is talking about warfare 24/7 and, all of this stuff. And I'm like, I think we need seers to pull us back into the reality of the unseen world that's creating separate reality around us. Because, even in other cultures, like in Chinese culture, there's like, when they do a play in Chinese, there's the spiritual realm, the earthly realm, and the underworld. And
yeah,
on all three stages, something is playing
right.
all the time. And a lot of times people will only focus on one realm. And to your point, people have been going down
Just
to say, I am experiencing the spiritual realm
right.
and I know why all the bad stuff is happening. But
Exactly.
I think the call is to ascend
Yes.
and to go up and to let the things of this world grow strangely dim for a minute, even if that feels irresponsible or like not the thing to do.
Yeah, and
That's,
it's like
yeah.
people are so scared to go
Mm,
higher now because they have been so low. And anything that, no one questions the devil tactics. No one's, if you say this is from the devil, this is from, mammon, or this is from this, like no one's questioned that. But if you they question the angelic, they question this, they question the heavenly things, but no one questions that. We've
yeah.
mastered that, but we have to ascend, we have to go higher.
Right. Well, and I think too, I mean, for me, and I don't know, maybe this is true for you, but posting about the spiritual realm, like, people are terrified of deception.
Yeah.
And so they're terrified. They're like, Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. It's like, if I see an angel of light, that could be Satan. And so I've got to freak out and panic and worry about my own deception and then get all in a wad. And I don't know, are you experiencing that too, where people are like more freaked out about light than they are about darkness?
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of those things where you're like, I have to laugh. I have to laugh because if you don't know the difference between the light of darkness and the light of God, then it's crazy. It's what because I did a video one time because I said that there is darkness in God, there
Mm,
is light in God. The Bible talks about where God hides himself in darkness.
yep.
And so sometimes that darkness is not evil, it is a mysterious type of darkness, and s- the thing it's just so funny to me. Again, we have mastered that side, the lower
Mm,
side, but it's time to go higher, man. And
yeah.
if we don't, Are we saying, Jesus, we don't trust you? We only trust you in this area. We only trust you in that area, but we don't trust for you to do what your word says when you say, come up to Mount Zion. You know what I'm saying? Come up to the cloud of witnesses, come up to all these different places.
Mm-hmm.
These are not like physical places. These are places that are higher. So
Yeah.
it's like, God, are we really saying that we trust you? I want to trust God.
Yep.
I really do. I
Me
really
too.
do.
Me too. Trust is a funny thing. It grows with time.
Yeah, it does.
It grows with time. I want to double back to something you said. So I thought it was really profound because I've I get a lot of seers in the DMs being like, "Oh my gosh, there's another one of us, and there's more." And they're just happy because they feel isolated and alone, and maybe they've discerned all this stuff. And a lot of seers don't want to be seers, and and then you got the other folks that are like, "I want to see more." And I was like, maybe you should talk to these other people and decide if you want to see more. But I digress. When you said it sounds like a watershed moment like 6 or 7 years ago when you were like, "Oh, I kind of understand what to do with this now."
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Because that sounds really profound, and I was like, "Ooh, we gotta go back to that."
I had always been a dreamer. I would have open visions, like with the mask. I had a manufacturing company, and
Wow.
months and months before the pandemic even happened, I had a dream with the Lord coming to me in this. It wasn't even a dream, it was like this open vision of the Lord coming to me, telling me to make masks and to help people. So we made these masks. We made hundreds of thousands of masks. We helped so many people. We gave money to pay people's bills.
Mm,
And then shortly after that, some of the people that was close to me did all that they could do to cause me to lose my business. And I went through that hard time. It was very, very hard. But during that time,
mm,
I went through extreme suffering. I
yeah,
went through extreme suffering, and
yeah,
not just suffering. That's when we moved from Los Angeles to Dallas. Not just
mhm,
like a physical suffering, but like a spiritual suffering of refinement. And when I came
mhm,
to Dallas, I began to see the Lord in so many different ways that I wasn't expecting. I will tell you, I had gotten a ticket and I had to go to court. And me and my husband, I was just figuring out a way because I'm also like a mental person. So I started looking up all the ways to fight this ticket. Like, what are the legal terms? To represent myself. And when I went to court, I walked upstairs to the escalators and
mm,
there was a man standing there. And he said, I'm here to represent you. And I said, okay. And he was like, let me see your paperwork. And I said, okay. Gave him my paperwork and he said, I got it. We walked into the courtroom. I sat down and the judge called my name. This guy got up and started to represent me. And then the judge said, case dismissed. Turned around. The guy gave me my paperwork back and he smiled at me and he said, you're free to go. And then I was walking down the escalators and I heard this thunderous voice that was also extremely gentle. And he said, now you know I am your Jehovah Mylot. And I said, what is a Jehovah Mylot? Like, I didn't know what it was because all the popular ones, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Tiskanu, Jehovah Elyon. And so I rushed home to look in the Bible because I was like, this
yep,
gotta make sense. Like, I don't know what this is. I look it up. I can't find it nowhere in the Bible. So then I was like, my lot. And then I said, okay, I look up in Hebrew. I get my Hebrew Bible out. And so then I find it in Psalms. And my
mm,
lot means I am the God that rescues you. And that taught me a bunch of stuff. And I've been seeing that, I've been
mm,
having those kind of experiences over and over and over again. So to really answer your question, like through suffering, I've learned that because suffering is a fruit. It's a fruit of the spirit. It's not like this like bad thing. It's the pure refinement of being in the light of God and God exposing himself to you. And so that's just one of the things that I've learned and gone through is just pure refinement and suffering. That's just one of the things. And I've seen so much stuff since then because I don't even think I could have seen the level of things that I'm seeing now if I did not go through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I got off topic, but I hope that answered.
No, well, and I even think, I think that story, it brings tears to my eyes because, when it's a Jesus story, like
Yeah,
there's a frequency and a resonance to it.
yeah,
And it just takes me back to what we were just talking about with Job, where the accuser comes to the courtroom.
yeah,
But in this instance, heaven has stepped in to
yeah, to rescue me. And
be
I've
the
held on to that
rescuer.
name, and one thing I've learned is that because all throughout the Bible, whenever God is revealing
Mm,
his nature, whether he's Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Tiskanu,
mm,
he's revealing a part of his nature and character to a person. And that tells me that he has not stopped doing that. We may not be catching it, but he has not stopped doing that. So now we can add Jehovah Mylot to the list. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? And so I really want to put that out in the earth. Like he's
Yes.
Jehovah Mylot. And it's in Psalms. It's in I want to say Psalms 28. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in Psalms, but it's in
Yeah.
Hebrew. It's not in the English version.
Right. Well, and then you go digging in the text and you
Yeah.
find all kind of goodies up in there. You're just like, ooh, what's this? This is tasty. Yeah, I love that story though, Shon, because what comes to mind is, I know a lot of people that have gone through really intense seasons of suffering, and I have over the past 2 years as well, which has been, interesting. And it's
Yeah.
this question of, okay, so, like, the darkness, it's like that meme, it's like at noon, the darkness will be all-consuming,
Right.
all of this, and everybody's eyes are on suffering
Yeah.
and on what God is or isn't doing, but I think that come up here, come up higher is, "God, who are you going to be for me
Yeah.
in the middle of this?" And instead of, like, having this moment where I'm like, "You did it. No, you did it. No, you did it. I did it. No, God did it." No, and instead of finger guns, it's like, "Who are you to me
Yeah.
in this moment?"
And I
And
realized that one of the reasons, so just like you said, like when I was going through my time, there was a moment where I wanted to blame everybody and just be so mad with the world. And it comes a point where you realize, like, okay, Lord, you really love me. You have your hand on me. The reason why we're suffering is because we refuse to go higher. And it's almost like we're in this area where we're standing and it can no longer hold the capacity of God, where God is trying to impart in our lives, but we keep standing here. So we are suffering instead of just surrendering and going higher. I mean, look, I'm a thick girl, right? But I'm going to suffer if I try to wear a size 6. I'm going to suffer, okay? So that's how a lot of people are. They're trying, in a different size, but you're still wearing the old size. And it's like, no, like everything's busting out, marks all over your body. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Things aren't working out like you think. They're not looking right now because you
Mm,
refuse to go higher. And that's what it is. And that's where that
yeah.
suffering comes from.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think clinging on to an old season or what it
Yeah.
looks like, or I felt like I finally had something figured out. I finally felt like I had rest or peace, but it wasn't the kind of peace that passed all understanding.
No.
It
No.
was just routine and familiarity that was
Yep.
really comfortable for me.
Exactly.
And here we are. It's
Here we
time
are.
to come up higher,
I'm a
which is
liar.
fine.
Exactly. I mean, that's the same. Like, I've done well in New York City, I've done well
Mhm.
in California, and now I'm in Texas, and I'm just like, God, what is it that you want me to do? I'm so confused. And it's just like, to your point, we do focus so much on familiarity, different things, but now I'm in a new state. Texas is not like other places, you can do business and not have relationships with people and
Uh,
just do business, and no one would think you're transactional in New York and LA because they just want to know if you can get the work done. But Texas, you gotta have like relationships. You gotta go over people's
Tacos,
houses, go cookouts, go play golf. I'm like,
barbecue.
I'm like, because New York City, when you have relationship with people, they're real. They're meaningful. They last a long
Mhm,
time. And in Texas, it causes you to expose your vulnerabilities like fast, And so I'm like,
mhm,
oh God, I'm not comfortable in Texas. I'm not, but God wants me here, and we've been here, and I've seen the presence of the Lord in ways that I
mhm,
did not see in New York, the ways I didn't see in Texas. And that's because there is a level of my soul that is surrendered because I am
mhm.
in a place that's completely unfamiliar. No family, very few friends. And it's just like, oh, what are you doing? And I'm feeling it. I am feeling it.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
reward is amazing, but you don't get so much excited about the reward because the suffering to get to the reward was so much. You know, you're like, oh, I got this amazing reward. Like, you're like, oh God, it took a lot to get here.
oh
You know
my
what I'm saying?
goodness.
I see people on
Oh.
social media like, I got this reward. I'm like, oh God, it took so much to get here.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's, something oh, I see the prettiest clouds outside my window.
I love clouds.
I know you do. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you. Sorry,
Please.
hold on. No, it's got a chemtrail in it, but it's also got a pretty cloud, so yeah, it's like so one, half a dozen the other. I think,
Can I just
um
tell you this? Like, people, I think when I tell people about the clouds, they be laughing a little bit and think like, "Oh, this girl's crazy." But it's so funny because I was heading to a meeting, and this alligator appeared in the clouds. It was so big, it was so strong, and I was like, "Oh!" And I felt like the Lord was telling me, when you go to this meeting, don't talk as much because alligator has a big mouth, and it was like, don't talk as much, hold back, chill down, and listen to everything they're saying.
yeah.
And that's how things be happening for me.
Oh,
It's
I love that. That kind of dovetails really nicely, into something I wanted to kind of share or ask you more about, which is, well, and I might give you a second to look at the cloud picture, but
Let me look at it.
interpret. No, but I'm curious to know how God has met you as a seer and as somebody who sees and then hears, how God has met you. But if we need to talk cloud pictures first, that's
No,
good.
it's up to it. All of this is because God shows me, and then I try to make sense of something. Like, sometimes people study and then experience. I'm backwards. Like, I experience these things and then I have to go study. Like, I
Mhm.
was taken into the realm of the clouds. And it was so interesting because I was praying, and then my spirit went to these clouds. And the moment that I had walked into this dimension, I was given a garment and I was given shoes. And then I was given a key, and I was given the poppus of a dandelion. And
Mm,
I began to see like
mm,
creatures. I begin to see people. I begin to see all of these different things of just the clouds.
mhm,
And even I saw how the moment I was given this garment of like a cloud garment, I started to become liquid. I became air. I became like salt. This
yeah.
is crazy. I became solid. Like I was able to move in different things and it was still all in the glory of God. And then after it was over, I realized I had walked out of Jesus. Like I went back to reality, but the door was Jesus. And I was just like, oh my God. And when I went, I was like, I wrote everything down. I went and I was like, the cloud of witnesses. There are garments in the Bible from the clouds. Like I started studying the clouds and started seeing all these things in scripture where the clouds, all the things that I saw was in the word.
Yep.
And I was like,
I
this is
know.
phenomenal. And it was amazing. And I always like loved the clouds before because one of my good friends, she had called me. Oh wow, I love this. She had called me and she was like, "Can you please pray for me?" She was pregnant. They told her that she would have to have a C-section if the baby didn't come because she was ovulating. And so I prayed for her. And as I was driving, um, I saw
Mhm.
a baby boy in the clouds. And I had called her, and the moment I saw this baby boy, I had
Oh.
told her the it's so crazy. I text her, I said, "I just saw your baby in the clouds." And he told me that he's coming on May 17th. And
Oh.
she was like, "Okay." I think everybody thinks I'm like a little Lulu, but I had called her on May 17th at 9 o'clock, and I was like, "How's the baby?" And her husband was like, "How did you know?" I was like, "I texted you and told you that your baby was coming on May 17th. The class saw your baby in the clouds." Like, and I said, if y'all see, I'm gonna send you this picture of the clouds. It is literally a baby boy, and you cannot deny it.
Okay, we're gonna have to like throw that up on the screen for the
Yeah.
video.
Hold on, this is
Yeah.
gonna be kind of funny because it literally is a baby boy.
Yeah, I'm tracking.
Okay. But I saw this in the clouds. I'm about to send it to you right now. And I was like, "Oh, you're having a boy." Here, I just sent it to you.
Wait, I gotta see this. That is a baby boy.
It's a baby.
That's like that's like an ultrasound. This is a anatomically correct baby boy. You cannot tell me that God is not hysterical.
God, it was no guessing. You don't have to guess about that. You don't.
Sometimes
I
I
was
think you're
laughing
a
so
little
hard. I
delusional.
was like,
Honestly,
God,
I'm like, did you really just?
God says, "Look, you're not gonna guess with me." You don't have to guess.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be in the video.
But her baby came on May 17th,
That's gorgeous.
that morning.
Ah, I
He's a
love it.
beautiful baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. Yeah, well, and I think just that those really unique ways of the Lord speaking to us. And
Yeah.
then like I love how you like work backwards. I work backwards and forwards. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
study and then but most of the time, like you, I'll like experience and then I'm like, crap, I'm probably a heretic. And then and then I'm like, no, no, just Jesus decided to break my theology today. That's all that has
Exactly.
happened.
I mean, this is why we need each other because
Mm,
we all see different. I think
yeah.
I have this thing that I say that if someone wants to get in ministry, that they should study the human body first. And
Really?
that is because when you understand the
Wow.
human body, you understand that each organ, each system has a rhythm that it is responsible for. And we're
Wow.
not supposed to all be alike. So when you look at the kidney system, right? The kidney systems
Mm,
are the purifiers. So those are the ones who have the capacity and the frequency to preach about sin, come out of sin, come out of sin, do this, come that is that kidney system that's
mhm,
constantly purifying. But in our world
mhm.
today, if you don't preach like the kidneys, then you're not a part of the body. You know what I'm saying? But there are multiple parts of the body to where that's its
Mm.
job to do. And because we lack understanding of the human
Yep.
structure, we don't understand the posture and what a person plays in ministry.
Yep.
And so that's why we need each other. If we came together
Yep.
much stronger, we will understand that the seers need this. The kidneys need the
Mhm.
heart. The kidneys need the lymphatic system. The kidneys
Wow.
need this. And what system are you a part of in the physical body? And what
Wow.
does that part does for the body?
Wow, that's so powerful. And I guess what immediately came to mind is Matthew 6:22 through 23. If your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light.
Yeah.
If your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. Therefore, if the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness?
Wow.
I think, especially like in the seer realm, the body has often said, no, we don't want to see. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, we don't want that because it's weird. No, we don't want this. And in reality, like it's put the rest of the body in darkness. I mean, if you sit in a darkened room, you can certainly feel your heart
Yeah.
and your kidneys. If you sit quietly enough, you can hear the blood rushing through your body. Like you have all the essentials, but you don't know where you're going
Yeah.
or what you're seeing. Pausing here because if you've enjoyed this episode, you would probably also enjoy some courses that are launching on maryfortheages.com, which is Mary, M-A-R-I, for the ages.com. I have been teaching publicly and privately on the supernatural for almost a decade now, and I have taken some time to make some text-based courses that are designed to help you walk not just a supernatural life, but also a solid, rooted, and grounded life. And so if that sounds of interest to you, you can find those at maryfortheages.com, M-A-R-I for the ages.com. You can also join our Substack community, which is Mary for the Ages on Substack, where you will get updates and may even be able to join in some conversations there.
No, it's true. And I'll tell you this, I might have all the terms. I want to make sure I have the terms right. But when I was studying how a person sees,
Mm.
I was looking at the human body, right? And like every hair on our body is like a antenna, right?
Wow.
So it connects to our nervous system and it receives different things and it takes something to the eyes, which
Mm-hmm.
creates imagery. And so even when you talk about like the eyes, it's
Get
not
out.
just this, it is the whole body that is connected to the eyes from the nervous system because it's taking in frequency and it's converting it. And how we actually see is upside down because we have a mirror thing back
Yes.
in our eye and it flips it right side up. And so when we're seeing, that's why the eye affects the whole body because we're taking in the light frequency from every pore that comes in the body and it creates imagery in our mind.
Wow.
Yes. So this is why like we need each other. How
Yep.
you see is not going to be how I see, you know? But when we come together and talk, what are
Yeah.
you saying? What am I saying? Like we can come together,
Wow.
That's why the teachers need the preachers, the preachers need the prophets need
Mhm.
this. Everybody needs to come together, but in our culture today, it's like if you're not doing something like me, then you're off. What
Right.
I'm saying? And so it's just like
Right.
that's why we need to understand I'm telling you, if I'm not a pastor, but if I had it my way, part of ministry would be to study the human body because
Yep.
then you will understand where you fit. As a
Mm.
seer, our job is connected to the whole body because we're connected to the nervous system of the whole body, which is in the whole body.
Wow.
So sometimes you can see through the toe, sometimes you see through a hand, sometimes you see through the gut, sometimes you see through the ear. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like all of these different things. Like, so all this matters. No one
Yeah.
has the whole view.
Yep. See in part, know in part.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Because
then when the
everybody
perfect
goes through a level of
comes,
surrender.
yep. Even with like darkness over light too, I think a lot of people want to say like, no, this is right and this
Yeah.
is wrong. And, hearers want to be like, well, I don't see, and seers are more easily deceived or hearers. And I'm just like, it's really more about our connection to the head,
Yeah.
who is Christ,
Yeah.
than it is about any of our perception.
It no, it's so true.
Oh,
I was speaking of the head, I was taken to the throne of grace.
mm,
And I did not see the outside of
mm-hmm.
the throne of grace. I saw the inner workings of the throne of grace. And
Yes.
I saw that when a person comes to the throne of grace, they're immediately put into this river that looks like salt, and
Mm,
they're given a red garment, which is
wow.
like the covering or salvation or, you
Yeah.
know, forgiveness. And then I saw one of the things that I saw is once I got out of that river, I didn't know what they were, but I saw like entities. They looked like beings lining up, boom, 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 boom,
Mm,
boom, right behind me. And then, as far as the eye can see, once that lined up, they begin to form a circle that looked like a chain. And
wow.
I got so scared because my idea of a chain was always like demonic or whatever. And
Yeah.
so when I saw this, the Holy Spirit, and I heard the voice say, slow down, go look up the word grace. When I looked up the word grace is chain. It actually looks like chain in
Mm,
English, but it's Chen. It's hen in Hebrew. And
mm,
chain is a necklace that God puts, it's likened into a necklace that God puts around
wow.
our neck to bring beauty to us, to restore us back to the head.
Mm,
So every time, so in the world, which when we talk about darkness, we talk about break all these chains, because we've only known the demonic side of a chain.
yeah.
But the holy side of a chain is grace. That is
Yeah.
operation of grace. Grace is
Mm,
a chain that is restoring beauty to us
mm,
and around
mm,
our necks and
mm.
restoring us back to the head.
Wow.
That
Wow.
and it's like I'm more interested in bringing righteousness to all things. I want to understand the righteousness so I
Mm,
can speak life into all things. Because a lot of times people want to see
yes.
in the spirit, but they can't see because they've demonized so many things. And
Yeah.
so you won't be able to see the righteousness of something.
Yes. Well, and I was trying to look too because, even when you think about like a chain connecting to the head, I mean, like that was often a symbol of authority
Yeah.
and reconnection to heritage, to royalty, to authority, I mean, the list goes on when you talk about putting a chain around a neck.
Yeah.
Those are meaningful.
And I never read that in the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known unless I saw it.
Yeah.
And when I
I
saw it, I
know.
was like, I can promise you a lot of people didn't even know anything about it.
Yep.
That when we talk about, because we say things, but we really like, what is grace? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? What is grace? I mean, we can say all the spiritual deep things we think of grace, but the
Mm,
throne of grace is the operation of putting a chain around our necks.
yeah.
That is restoring beauty to our souls. And when that chain restores beauty, it connects us back to the Father.
Yeah. Or I
That's
mean, grace is the restoration of relationship, which is the whole point of the story of Jesus. It's like
yes.
that he's super far fetched and far flung. He tells these big stories, and then he just swoops in at the end and just ties it all up. He's sort of like very dramatic in a good way.
Yeah.
But, it's like that we're living in a big story right now,
Yeah.
and it's one where he gets closer and closer all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative.
That's the narrative. That's the narrative. It is amazing to be able to see. It
Yeah.
is. And I always say that being a seer is a spiritual gift, but being a seer is also a spiritual practice
Yes.
because the Bible talks about multiple ways of seeing.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a gift, but there are times where people can, we say the supernatural, but sometimes when we say the supernatural, we act as if it's so far away,
Yes.
but it's like right here, it's obtainable, it's touchable.
Mhm.
And then the Bible talks
Oh,
about
yeah.
seeing through the eyes of the heart, the eyes of understanding, the
Mhm.
eyes of the Lord, the eyes of the Spirit. There's so many different ways to
Yeah.
see. And I think within the last like 5, 6, 7 years, especially in America, we've become so obsessed with spiritual and seeing. And that's an amazing thing because it's needed. But being a seer is not the goal. Being a friend of
Mhm.
Jesus is the goal.
Yeah.
That is the goal. And when you are a friend of Jesus,
Yeah.
you see everything you can see, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. I think there was such a division between the supernatural and the church for so
Yeah,
long that, then people would have these experiences and they would feel really isolated. But then, you go on, you have these discussions about paranormal happenings, and there are
yeah,
all these paranormal podcasts right now, which I love, and I go on them and I talk. But for a lot of people, the story is like, I had this weird experience and I don't know what that was. That was weird, man.
yeah,
And then it's like, move on. But the invitation really is, oh, there's this realm, or there are these realms upon realms that are
yeah,
unseen, but all of them point back to that bigger story of connection to Jesus. And if you see him, you have everything.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. I think one of the things that has protected me is being mindful to stay childlike. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've lost the childlike wonder. You know what I'm saying? It's like when
Yeah.
when I talk about the clouds or see something, it's like I don't lose the wonder of
Yeah.
it. And most it's just a lot of us want to present ourselves as this like super spiritual,
Mm.
mature, thing, and we lose the wonder. And when you're a child, like you protect it. And I mean, I'm not saying that none of that stuff exists. It does, and it's wicked and it's evil. And I don't sometimes don't have language to tell people how to fight against it. I really don't sometimes.
Right.
It becomes a struggle because most of the times when I've dealt with serious evilness, I've
Mm.
just tried to posture myself running to Christ,
Yeah.
running into Christ. Like, and I know that stuff exists. I that's not what my focus is on. It really
Yeah.
isn't. And sometimes I don't, that's the other downfall. Like I don't sometimes have the language to talk about
Mm.
those things. I'll leave that for someone else. I'll leave that for the
Right.
kidney seers.
For the what?
The kidney seers. The one who's anointed hooks.
You've now made it to this point in the podcast. You now have been not initiated, but you've been welcomed into a system of seeing. Yeah, and I think how you have really talked about having open visions as you go do your work, and your work was and is and will be designed to bless other people. And
Yeah.
you're like, I saw an alligator in the sky, and the Lord told me that was proportional, and I needed to close it.
Exactly.
No, I love that connection too, because a lot of times this whole seer spiritual thing can start to feel really woo woo and really
Yeah,
out there and not grounded back in the physical plane.
yeah,
And not because the spiritual and the physical are not separate, in my view, they are intertwined and they go together,
yeah.
which is why, you're talking about we can just reach out and grab Jesus. But where have you really seen the spiritual and work go together in a deep way? Because it sounds like you've made big decisions with the Lord and big moves and stuff like that. And I'd just be curious to hear about that overlap.
I write a lot.
Okay.
I don't consider myself like a public speaker. I write way better than I speak. And I'm in my writings, everybody's is so quick to get like 2 seconds on social media. So I always feel like when I write, it's for whoever wants to read them. And
Mm.
I try to give a lot of understanding in my writings. I'm writing a book on spiritual warfare and
Wow.
is teaching I know, right? It I have found over 250 spirits that the Bible teaches us about.
Wow.
And a lot of it is compared to things that exist in the earth. So, for instance, I'll give you a few.
Yep. Yep.
One of in Acts where Jesus is with the disciples and he says, "Go tell that fox I said." The thing is, like, who's a fox? Like, there was no fox. They were talking about the Roman government, but he called that leader a fox. So there is a spirit that may not have a name, but is symbolic to the nature of a fox. And the Bible talks about a
Mm.
wandering bird. You know, it talks about all of these different things
Yes.
so that you can, especially as a seer, you can study what is the nature. For instance,
Wow.
I had saw this animal that I didn't know what it was, and I was scared. It was when I had found out what it was an open vision. I had saw that it was called a man of war, and I've never seen this animal before because it only exists in the Caribbean.
Yep.
And when I looked it up, it took me like maybe 3 or 4 months to find out what kind of animal this was because I had never seen this. But I found in the word where God says, "I am the Lord, the man of war." And what happens with this particular animal is that this animal has this beautiful covering that looks really inviting, but
Mm.
under it, it has multiple animals coming together and it's like really intense. And, the
Wow.
Lord's army will be your man of war. It's so much
Woo!
like in the Bible where
Wow.
the Bible's talking about an animal, but it's the symbology and the nature of it. So I think what I'm doing is first I'm surrendering. Okay. That's the first thing. I'm surrendering because yeah, to even have such experiences and to act or think that, this is the end all be all is not the case. So the surrendering is a daily practice.
Yep.
It is a
Mhm.
daily thing. And I'm learning that I don't have to talk about everything.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like to prove to people. Not I wasn't trying to prove to people, but it's like when you have the conversations, you get excited and you just want to share. I'm learning that that's not always wise. And the other thing, I think I said it before, the most important thing is to these being a seer, seeing in the spirit, these are um side effects of being with Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I
Say it for the people in the back.
These are side effects. No.
Side effects may include. Side effects of being with Jesus may include increased visions, dreams, understanding, knowledge, and revelation.
Yeah.
that leads you into light.
Like, these things,
Unintended side effects maybe that you seem strange
yeah.
to other people.
For real. No, seriously. Yeah, that it
Well,
is all about Jesus. And here's the thing though. One thing I've learned about Jesus is like he wants us a part of his world. A lot of
yes.
times we think when we say, "Oh, it's all about Jesus," that Jesus is being like, "Come and just worship me." You know what I'm saying? Like this idea, even though it is worship to him, but
Yeah.
it's almost like, come see my world." You know what I'm saying? It's not like, "Come
Yes.
and just worship me." It's like, "Come
Right.
see my world. Come see my kingdom." You know what I'm saying? "Come see all that I have prepared for you. Come
Yeah.
see." And he loves us that much.
Mm,
He wants us a part of his world, his kingdom.
yeah. I know. Yeah, it's a big world out there. I've always found Jesus to be extremely chatty,
Yeah,
not in a bad way.
not in a bad way.
Just in a I think he wants to speak to us more than we even realize.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
And I think he has a lot of ideas about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think that he is far more available than people even realize.
A lot of people don't go up. You know what I'm saying? As you were saying before, a lot of
Mm,
people spiritually only maintain what's down. And
yeah.
Jesus said, "Come up, come up."
Mm,
There's so much up, even beyond the heavens.
yeah.
Up, come up higher, come up to Mount Zion, come up. And that's one of the things I'm like, are we going up? We got to go up because as the body of Christ, our job is not to hurry up and die to go to heaven. Our job is to bring heaven on earth. And so, how can we bring heaven on earth if we're not going up?
Right.
What are you bringing?
If you ain't got no heaven, like,
What are you bringing?
what are you bringing? I know. I'm I'm gonna go on a soapbox. I do ask me anythings like on Mondays and Tuesdays as a way to like minimize insanity in my DMs. I was like, you can wait your turn until Monday or Tuesday, and I will answer it for the people of God. Everybody can see, like, and you will be concise. You will put it in this box.
Yes, yes.
But I have gotten so many questions about end times, rapture, when are we beam me up, Scotty? And I'm just like, are you trying to escape a reality that feels like hell because your everyday life does not feel like heaven? So
Yeah,
you're looking for an escape hatch here instead of asking Jesus, like, how much of you can I have today?
yeah,
And I'm just like, I think that's got to be our paradigm flip where, David says, better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. And he says, I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God
yeah,
than anything else. And we've become so like end times obsessed and end times focused that we're not seeking for heaven to be here now because, I could go to like, look, if my, sorry, you've touched a nerve.
yeah,
If my goal in life is only to, like, sit at the feet of Jesus and sing Kumbaya, he could have taken me a long time ago, and I would have been really happy, but he did not. And so I don't know, I think that there's more to pulling people out of darkness and into his marvelous light.
yeah. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's
Oof.
so true. We gotta go up, man. We
We
gotta
gotta go
go
up.
up.
Just to round out this conversation, a lot of people are like, gotta go up, gotta go higher, da 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 da. And I feel like that can almost create a lack of accessibility if it
Yeah.
doesn't become practical because
Yes.
people will hear that and they're like, well, I'm not up, I'm down, and there's something wrong with me, and there's no ladder, and there's no hovercraft, and I don't know how to go up. What would you say is the best way to go up? I have my answer, but I would be
That's
curious yours.
heavy. God, that's a heavy.
Oh no, the turtleneck came up. That's how we know. Do you want me to give my answer while you think about yours?
How do we go up? We know to do all the practical things like pray, fast, surrender, right?
Right.
But one of the things all throughout the Bible is whenever a prophet or someone in the Bible wanted to see, they ate something.
Oh, thank God. I'm ready.
Just, you know what I'm saying? Moses ate bread, he began to see. So,
Mm,
just in one of the most practical ways, I'll tell you this in true honesty. One of the practical things that I've done to go up is take communion every day.
mm. Wow.
That's just one of the things that I've done. Now, I haven't did it in a minute because I need to order a new box, but I'm very intentional on
Yeah.
taking communion often. I do not take communion with my church the once a month, the once every 2 months or whatever. I'm so intentional about how often I take communion to become one with the Lord. That's very serious to me. I mean, very, very serious to me because he made a promise and he said, "Take my body that is broken for you, that you shall eat." And I take his blood, that my blood becomes his blood, that his body becomes my body becomes his body. That is something that is it's a must for me. It is a must, like a must to
Wow.
do that as often as I can,
Yeah.
not the every 2 months. That's one of the ways. And then 2, I believe the word. I believe the word. When the word
Mm,
said something, I believe it. I sit. We've lost the art of meditation
yeah.
because we've
Mm,
allowed the world to come in and tell us not to meditate. And that way we don't sit in pure
yeah.
silence and allow the Holy Spirit
Yeah.
to talk to us. And
Mm,
so my time with the Lord is not always me talking. It is me listening
mm.
and going through that uncomfortable moment where it is silence, but allowing the silence to
Yeah.
speak. And that goes through some uncomfortable moments. And the last one in going up is in the Bible, in the Bible, there are 2 Hebrew words for imagination, but
Mm,
the English version only gave imagination in the bad way, where it says, "Cast down all imaginations
yeah.
that exalt itself above God." But the Hebrew word imagination, the good imagination, it shows that there's nothing new under the sun. So if you can imagine it, it exists. And sometimes, just like a child, the
Mm,
imagination is the doorway that God can work through and
mm,
comes through and show all the things of heaven. But we've lost that kind of thing because we demonize imagination and we lose our childlike wonder.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And so
mm,
for me,
mm,
I haven't lost my childlike wonder. It is through my
mm.
imagination that I can open up my imagination and I put no limits on God.
Wow.
I put no limits. I don't say, "Oh, the clouds can't do this." "Oh, the cloud can't do that," or "This can't do this."
Mm,
I have no limits on what God can do when I'm in his presence. My imagination don't have
yeah.
limits. I mean, it's so much more. Probably we talk about the
Wow.
other ones offline, but those are the few. I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really beautiful. And I think a simple way to come up here just is to say, Jesus, would you show me things from your perspective?
Yeah.
if that starts to become the prayer, I think that repeated prayer, I think it starts to form you
Yeah.
in a really beautiful way. And, you know, I get people, comments, DMs, what have you, they're like, well, I've been begging, I've been asking, and they're just, you know, they're wanting me to fix it. And I was like, no, the asking and the forming is the journey.
Yeah.
And it says if you keep asking, you'll receive.
Yeah.
And so if you're having trouble coming up higher, you just got to be like, Jesus, like, show me how you see this.
And I do think people
Yeah.
are seeing they're just been taught one way.
Yep.
Can I read this?
Yeah.
I wrote this summary table. So I wrote a few ways of seeing in the spirit. Number
Oh,
one
great.
is physical eyes, and that is natural perspective,
Hmm.
because nothing on the earth can exist if it doesn't exist in heaven. And so that's Proverbs 20:12. So if it exists in here, you know that there is a function or an existence in heaven. The eyes of the heart in Ephesians 1:18, and sometimes that's emotional spiritual discernment.
Yep.
And then the eyes of understanding, sometimes people see in the spirit through discernment, and they might not
Hmm.
see a picture, but they see through discernment.
Yep.
That's Ephesians 1:17 through 18.
Nice.
um Revelation, or they might have a revelation and comprehension. Seeing in the spirit
Hmm.
through the eyes of the Lord, that's Second Chronicles 16:19. That's God's omniscient observation.
Hmm.
That's what you're saying, divine Lord, show me from your perspective.
Hmm.
Eyes of the spirit, that's a seer, First Samuel
Yep.
9:9. That's
Yep.
prophetic visions through dreams, through open visions, all
Hmm.
that. And then eyes of the living creatures. That's Ezekiel 10:12.
Hmm.
See through heaven. That's complete perception through the eyes of heaven. Another way to see is through the eyes of fire. That's Revelation 1:14. That's through Christ. So through Christ, that's purifying and penetration of sight. That's a way that we can see. So those are very few ways that we can see that all give
Yeah.
different dimensions and
Beautiful.
perspectives of heaven.
Yeah, that's beautiful. There's so many like layers, and I love that you're writing a book on spiritual warfare and also on the different spirits because
Yeah.
I just think we've been really under equipped as the body for a long time
Yeah.
in this area. And, you know, just having resources for people. I know that's something that's really been burning in my heart for a while. And so I love that. Where can people connect with you?
Mm. On Instagram. I
Nice.
haven't been out like, I'm on
Okay.
social media. Since I moved from LA, I haven't been super active. I need to be active again, which I'm going to be. But,
Cool.
they can connect with me through my Instagram, which is
Nice.
I am Shon Simon, or Shon Simon.
Yeah, so you're Sean now. You're Sean. Sean.
I'm Shon.
Sean.
I like that.
Sean Simon. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the French don't know what to do with my name, so, you know, it's fair and squared about. Fair and fair's play.
Oh my God.
Sean, thank you so much for
Thank you. Can I ask you a
joining.
question? I know this is your
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay.
What are you seeing in the spirit these days?
To be honest, I feel like everything's coming out of the woodwork, and I feel like darkness has overplayed its hand,
Yeah.
but I am seeing more angelic activity than I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think we're reaching a tipping point where regions and people and countries are going to see a turning point.
Mm.
And I think everything's kind of out on display, and I think that that's going to intensify and continue. Um, I've flown over so many countries and like looked out the windows of planes and seen interesting things, and I've seen movement but I just feel like there's just such a clear tipping point of light and dark right now that is becoming more and more intense and evident. And I think the temptation is to want to numb out and to feel overwhelmed, when in reality, we're seeing the biggest birth of people and nations that we have ever seen.
Yeah.
I think just, people are like, why are you writing about entities or angels or whatever? And I'm like, because you will either see them or you will see their effect, and you will need to know why this is happening
Yeah.
and what to do. And it's unto something, it's unto a narrative.
Yeah.
So we're in a big narrative moment
That's
thing.
beautiful.
Oh,
I'm just always looking for Jesus. Like, Jesus, where are you? Where's your hand? Where are you moving?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, God is always in control.
yeah.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
There's never a time where God is not in control. And I think that because of what the world is doing, we sometimes think that God is not in control. And He's always in control. Always. Always in control.
Thank you, girl. I just appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too.
Oh, this was fun. Y'all go, y'all go connect with Shon. And thank y'all for being here. Thank you so much for joining me at Mary for the Ages podcast. I have so enjoyed hosting these conversations and getting to know these amazing guests. Please find them and connect with them online. And if you are looking for more resources, I have free resources on my site at maryfortheages.com, marifortheages.com. I also have some free and paid courses on that site, as well as a free and member-based Substack subscription at Mary for the Ages, MARI for the Ages, and I would love to see you there. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. We are a small but mighty little team over here, and your rate and review of this podcast helps us so much. See you next time.